All right. So, guys, today we're going to be talking about snacking. Now, snacking and food in general can just be like a really tough thing for a lot of people, and everybody is just like they want to shape up their diet, but they just don't know how. And to be totally honest, it doesn't really take that much. You don't have to do these like crazy drastic changes. One small step at a time can make a huge difference. So, the first thing that I recommend doing is just keeping a food diary, whether you physically write it down on a piece of paper or you have some sort of like tracking system or use an app like MyFitnessPal or something along those lines. Those types of things are super helpful because writing down what you eat in a day holds you accountable. So I recommend doing at least 3 days worth of tracking of your food. Not necessarily for the macros, although the macro breakdown does help. So the macros are your proteins, your fats, your carbs, all that sort of stuff. So it's making sure that you are getting, a well balanced diet, and it's just sort of it helps to track. So if you can do it on an app. I like MyFitnessPal. I tend to use that one a lot just because it's got like the scanner bar on it, so you can just like scan barcodes and things like that. It makes it really easy. But there's tons of them out there, so you don't have to be like super picky about it. But even just writing it down, it holds you accountable to what you're actually eating. And a lot of times we don't even realize what we're eating or how much we're eating in a day, because the number one thing that I get as a response back from a client when we talk about food is they're like, oh, well, I eat really healthy, so but I have no idea why I'm not losing weight. And everybody's variation of healthy is extremely different. And sometimes, in most cases, we don't even actually realize that some of the stuff that we're putting into our body is not that healthy until we see it in front of us. And you sort of go, wow, I had no idea that I was eating like that. Not necessarily bad, but could just be out of balance. There are quite a few minor changes you can make that make major differences. And it depends on what you put into your body and how your body rids itself of those things as to how it's going to be affected. So, here's a few key things that you can do to make your body work better and get better results for yourself. So the first thing we talked about it briefly was tracking. Use a diary, track it at least 3 days, up to a week, and then every once in a while just do a check-in. You don't have to do it every single day for the rest of your life, because that can develop sort of like a mental state of anxiety, and we get too used to tracking. So it can cause stress, and it's unnecessary stress, but it is important to collect that data so that you know exactly what's going on in your body and if you're feeding it properly. And then you can also easily identify where your gaps are. So I'm not getting enough carbs, I'm not getting enough protein, I'm not getting enough vitamins or minerals or whatever it is. It really does help you sort of understand the breakdown of what you're putting into your body and how you can make that better. Now, when it comes to snacking or just eating in general, another thing that you can do is stop eating mindlessly. You need to start eating with intention. Okay. So, one thing that you can do here is meal prepping, right? If you meal prep all of your meals, whatever meals are necessary, you don't have to meal prep every single meal from start of the day to the end of the day, but just whatever's most important. Or if it is incredibly challenging for you to just get your meals under control, then start prepping everything, and then you can easily weed out the ones that you don't need to prep every single day. But it does make it easier so that you don't have to think too much about what should I be eating, or what if you end up getting tired at the end of the day, you don't feel like cooking, that stops you from going out and getting something that you don't actually need and getting takeaway or something like that. So you've already got the meals prepped and ready to go. It's easy to just reheat and eat them, or they're already portioned out into the appropriate portion sizes that you need so that you can just eat and not have to think about it. So that's a really, really good way of doing it. The next thing that you really need to pay attention to is continuing on with that mindless eating thing is stop moving so quickly when you're eating. Stop eating at your desk. and eating while you're still working, because you're not paying attention to what's going into your body. And so your brain doesn't make the connection with your stomach that it's full, because it didn't actually get to experience the process. And that's a huge part of eating, is experiencing it. I don't necessarily even just mean with flavors, but your brain needs to understand that you are doing what it needs, and it's recognizing the fact that it is getting fed. We tend to, as humans these days, we require instant gratification. So we'll eat whatever it is to make us feel better in that moment, or to just get us through. But we are also really bad about multitasking. So eating during our lunch break, but not actually taking the break and continuing to work through that as we eat. Our brain is distracted because it's focused more on the work than the actual eating process. And so you get to the end and you're like, I don't even remember eating. And it wasn't a satisfying experience for me. Therefore, you walk away. And that's why you end up going and getting extra snacks, or feeling like you need something sweet or salty or something to sort of curb that, because your brain is like, hey, I actually enjoy this process and I didn't get to experience it properly. So I still want more. I need something to give me that, to sort of tide me over. So stop standing up at your kitchen bench and just eating and scrolling through your phone. What you need to do is actually, like, when your meal is prepped and ready, put it on a plate, right? Or even if, like, I'm guilty of this all the time. If I have meal prep, I'll eat out of the container because I've already got it separated the way I want, and it's just easy that way, and it's pretty much done. So even if you're eating out of the container, once it's ready, go and sit down. Turn off your phone, get away from your screens, experience the process by actually sitting down and focusing on the fact that you are eating. Pay attention to what it tastes like, because that is where you're going to get that sensory effect that's actually going to help you stop snacking and actually enjoy the food. That you'll appreciate the flavor, you'll appreciate all the stuff, which is incredibly important, but it's the experience of actually feeling it in your mouth, feeling it move down your throat and into your stomach, and feeling your stomach start to begin to feel satisfied and full. It will stop you from going and eating more later, because you've experienced the process and your brain is like, yep, I had a beautiful lunch today, I'm good, right? And then you don't feel that need to refill the satisfaction that has been missing by going and getting a candy bar or something to fill it, because it didn't get a chance to experience that, right? So actually taking a moment to sit down, not do anything, and just be in the moment of eating. It only takes 5-10 minutes. I mean, really, you can make the time for that. And I do understand we're all busy, and there's always moments or days or whatever where it doesn't always get to work like that. But the more you do it, the easier it will be for your body to process that type of action, and you won't overindulge, and you won't snack, and you won't go and binge later because you didn't get to actually feel the experience of it. Even chewing slowly and savoring the taste, or like for me, in order to have like a satisfied palate from eating chocolate, I don't need to eat a whole bunch of chocolate to be able to feel satisfied. I just need to like put that chocolate on my mouth, like on my tongue, and suck on it, and actually like let the taste linger for me to feel satisfied. So that's a good way of sort of helping control the binge part, as well as like let the flavor linger, experience it. It actually feels amazing when you have the chance to, like, you're going after it because your brain is telling you that you want something in that food, whether it's a certain vitamin or a mineral, or you're lacking a protein or something along those lines. Your brain is telling you that it wants those things. But if you eat it too fast, again, your body doesn't get to experience the process and you miss out. And so you want more. You need to feel that satisfaction. So slow down, actually chew your food, savor it, feel good about it, enjoy the experience, and then you won't feel the need to overindulge. Another thing to focus on here, guys, and I had this conversation earlier with a client, and if you tend to be like a snacker, or somebody who maybe like can't control portions, or is guilty of mindless eating, because we all are. I mean, how many of us sit down with a bowl of popcorn or a packet of chips or a box of cookies after dinner or late at night or on the weekend or whatever, and you just sit there with the packet in your lap and you're watching TV and you're just eating, right? And you just eat, and by the time you're done, you ate the whole thing, and you didn't even realize it. Like, your brain was too focused on watching TV or doing something else or experiencing some other form of stimulus, rather than focusing on the eating of the thing that it thought it wanted or it was telling you that it wanted. So rather than going and getting a snack and just eating straight out of the bag, like eating your chips straight out of the bag or eating your cookies straight out of the container, because guilty as all heck. Over in the States, like, you can get a packet of Oreos where it's like rows, it's like 3 rows of like 12 cookies or something like that. I can pack away the whole box. Like, if I'm not paying attention, I'll eat the whole box. And by the time you get to the end, you're just like, I feel so horrible about myself because I didn't pay attention and now I know that I overate. It was ridiculous. Or you can get a big packet of chips and you're not paying attention and you eat more than half the bag. And by the time you get to the end, you're like, well, it's pretty much gone anyway. I may as well finish it. And then you go and throw the bag away and you're like, ugh, I feel so guilty that I just ate that whole thing. You don't need to feel guilty, right? What you need to do instead is just take control of the situation. So rather than sitting with the full packet of cookies or rather than sitting with the whole bag of chips, right? Go and get that thing. Grab a plate or a small bowl or whatever, portion it out. Grab 4 or 5 cookies out of the thing. Grab, a handful of chips and the one scoop of dip that you need to eat those chips. Put it in a plate or in a little thing, and just enough for the size that you want to be eating for that night, rather than the whole bag or the whole box or whatever it is, right? Portion it out. So that way, when you're done, you set that aside and that's it, you're done. Then you're not eating the whole bag or eating the whole box and then feeling guilty at the end because you've portioned it out. Plus, once you've portioned it, you've put that bag or box away and it's done. You don't have to get up, you're less likely to get up off the couch to go get more than you are if it's just sitting there, right? So if you physically put it away and you make it harder, it's so much easier. Another helpful little tip, especially for like nighttime snackers, if you want to help control that, if you are good at your dental hygiene, go and brush your teeth. Okay, I am not kidding. Go and brush your teeth at the end of the night when you're finished and you don't want to have any more, you want to help control yourself. Go and brush your teeth as soon as you're finished with whatever it is that you're eating, so you stop yourself from eating snacks, because once your teeth are brushed, are you going to want to get up in the middle of the night and go and do it again? No, you're not. So go and brush your teeth, because it's one more thing that you'll have to do. If you go and eat again, you're going to have to brush your teeth again. It's like such a pain in the butt. So I'd rather not. I'll just have a glass of water and go to bed. You know what I mean? Another thing that you can do is check in with your brain. When you want to go and have a snack, or you want to go and eat something that's maybe off track, or maybe it's not even off track, maybe you just think that you should be eating, check in with yourself and be like, am I actually hungry? Is my body telling me that I'm hungry? Or is there some emotion that's playing on me right now, or some habit that I've repeated often that's telling me, well, now's the time to eat, whether you're hungry or not? Because if you're not genuinely hungry, you don't have to eat. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to. And in certain scenarios, there's situations like if you're bodybuilding or something like that, there's a certain schedule you have to follow in order to get the types of results you desire. However, most of us are going through some sort of like fat burning stage or weight loss, or even just tightening and toning. You don't need to like force yourself into an eating state if you're not hungry, So I do find that to be very helpful. Do a check-in with yourself. Am I eating because I'm sad, or because I'm bored, or there's something that's triggered me, and this is genuinely my response that I've learned over time, is that eating is going to comfort that scenario, right? Because if it is, there's a very simple thing that you can do to swap it. Rather than turning to food, as soon as you recognize that pattern, that thing, that trigger that sets you off, you can go and do something else. So as soon as you recognize that it's something that you're about to do, and you're going to turn to food as some form of comfort or just a habit of things, you can go for a walk, you can have a drink of water, you can do something active, you can do something productive, right? Rather than turning to food for the sake of eating. Okay. It's a very bad habit that we have all learned at some point. And it doesn't necessarily have to be an issue. It's just something we need to recognize, and more often than not we don't even realize that we do it. So as soon as you start checking in with yourself, that can be extremely helpful. And sometimes it just takes a very quick, it takes a lot of practice, but it takes a quick little check-in to be like, am I actually hungry, or is there some response that I'm just reacting to and eating because of that? So that's super helpful. Finally, the act of eating and snacking needs to change. Your brain, your mindset around food needs to change. So people think that eating healthy tastes bad. It does not need to taste bad. You have just conditioned yourself to eat foods that are so highly processed and have addictive traits built into them for that exact reason, to sell you more and to get you addicted to that process, that food, that thing, when really, if you turn yourself back to natural foods and change your mind around what healthy is, you're actually going to feel better. And it takes about 2 weeks of consistency in this to be able to get there. But once you break the barrier and you actually feel good again, like honestly, so many people go through this sort of, I'm going to call it a cleansing process, but it's not really, like, you're not doing a cleanse of your body. You're just switching your food back to what is natural and healthy and basically straight from the earth rather than constantly processed. But as soon as you do that, you don't even realize how bad you were feeling and how low your energy levels were and how sluggish you felt until you break through this and you feed your body the appropriate fuel and the appropriate nutrients. And once you get to that stage, you're like, wow, I feel amazing. And I had no idea. So snacking and healthy food does not need to taste bad. Like, I love this whenever I say, like, someone's like, oh, I really want, this chocolate ice cream, or I really want this, like, donut or whatever, but I'm on a diet and I don't want to eat that. I'm like, eat fruit instead. Eat fruit. And they're like, oh God, you're like a mom. Like, I want the donut and you tell me to eat fruit. Yeah, because it's got natural sugars in it. It's sweet and you're craving the sweet thing. So eat something sweet that's actually healthier and doesn't have all the processed crap in it. So it doesn't need to be bad. You need to change, it doesn't need to taste bad or be set around like, oh, it's just so healthy. It's not about that. Like, the whole point is, yeah, you want to be healthy. So stop eating the crap that's processed and has a bunch of addictive traits in it, and start eating the stuff that's healthy and natural and wholesome and good for your body, and start learning that you were trained wrong and start training yourself properly, because then you're going to achieve the goals that you always wanted to achieve. So that is it, guys. I hope that's super helpful. Get your brain around snacking, get your brain around food, stop eating compulsively and start eating with intention. Slow down, pay attention, check in with yourself, start making healthy, wholesome swaps so that you can make sure you're achieving the goals that you've always wanted to achieve. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you guys all in the next one.